What up, what up, what up, everybody? This is your host, Falco. Welcome into a fresh episode of New Dawn Podcast. We have a different crew with us today. We have King of Wakanda joining us, IC3U MSR owner of the Denver Broncos. Of course, we have Kylo, and a special guest, we have Jim Jones, commissioner of the Leatherheads League. Mr. Jim Jones, how you doing, man?
Oh, man, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hi, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Appreciate the invite.
Yes, sir. Coming off a big win against the Los Angeles Chargers. Huge win right there. Making that division a little tighter. Kylo, how are you, my man?
I'm doing good as always. It's nice to be taking a break here from MSR games. I'm loving it, honestly.
Yeah. I haven't played a game in a little bit. I've unfortunately had to give a couple forced wins to the Texans and the Jaguars. I'm sure it wouldn't have made much of a difference, but a little bit of a break. And Wakanda, how are you, my man?
I'm good, man. Enjoying the peach state. I'm going to attempt to start getting some games rolling starting tomorrow, and hopefully defend the North.
Yes, sir. Wakanda, tell the people who we are.
NDP. You're listening to the New Dawn Podcast. It is the official podcast of the Madden Sim Revolution. We are the MSR. We are in season 10 of the Madden 20 cycle and our 23rd season overall. You can check us out at www.maddensimrevolution.com, on Instagram at MSR Network, and on our YouTube channel at MSR Network as well. You're watching us live right now on twitch.tv MSR Network.
Yes, sir. And in case anybody out there forgot, we are sponsored by StubHub. StubHub is the world's largest marketplace with tickets available for over 10 million live sports, music, theater events in more than 40 countries. They enable experienced seekers to buy and sell tickets wherever, whenever they want to, from their desktops, mobile, Chromebooks, whatever you have, they'll be able to sell it. You'll be able to buy it. Of course, right now with the coronavirus, everything is beginning to open up with limited capacity, but still go out there, StubHub.com. You can find our links at our websites, our Daddy Leagues websites, daddyleagues.com/Genesis, daddyleagues.com/MSR. Click on the StubHub link, and from there, buy your tickets. But fellas, we have a lot of topics to get to today. First off, let's start off with the NFL Top 100. Let's start off with some notable snubs. Mr. Jim Jones, who's a big snub for you, man?
I mean, he's on the list, but I think he's very, very low. Chandler Jones, man. I think he's one of the best players in the league, a top 5 player to me. But a player that didn't make it, and it might be just me being a Cowboys fan, DeMarcus Lawrence. He had a down season. He was battling some injuries, but he's clearly better than a lot of the players that's on the list. And man, that's probably the biggest snub that I personally think.
Yeah, as an Eagles fan, I had no idea before putting you on the show that you were a Cowboys fan. So, man, thank you for your time. We will see. I'm just joking.
I knew that was coming.
No, I do have to agree with you. DeMarcus Lawrence was a snub on my list as well. The dude's a monster. Dude's an absolute monster.
Yeah.
How about you, man? Who's a snub for you?
Snub, I'm going to just go with the obvious choice. In my opinion, it's got to be the number one. I like guys that are at the top of their game to be number one, and I feel as though Mahomes was at the top of his game. And I thought he was snubbed out of the number one spot.
Yeah, hard to argue that. MVP and then Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
First 2 years starting, so.
Yeah, That one's a toughie. Kylo, how about you, man?
Do we start this now?
Yeah. Let's hit him with it, man.
Do we start this now? Okay, come on. Yeah. Carson Wentz, there's no way he doesn't belong in the 100. I'm going to say it right now. We're going to start this right now, and there's no way he doesn't belong on this list. You're telling me Kirk Cousins, Ryan Tannehill, and Tom Brady had better seasons than him last year? Come on. Get out of here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm right there with you. The one that gets me is Ryan Tannehill at 68. 68? Ryan Tannehill? And you leave a guy that took a high school team to the playoffs out of the top 100? Are you kidding me? Carson Wentz did that on his back alone. And you snub him and you put Carson or Ryan Tannehill at 68, who threw the ball 4 times a game. I mean, come on, it's a joke. Like when I saw this list, I was like, okay, Eagles are hated on, of course. There's teams out there. Yeah. What's new? Teams out there getting some love, of course. Like, I mean, Kirk Cousins, 58. He is not the 58th player on his team. Like.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Come on now.
God.
I mean, just between Tannehill and Cousins, I think I put Tannehill above Cousins, just for what he brings to the team.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, putting Kyler Murray, no disrespect to Kyler, like he did his little thing, but I mean, come on.
He had a good season.
Now, come on.
I see what you did there.
Well, before I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Wakanda, what about you, man, for your snub?
As far as I'll get to the list itself, but as far as guys that weren't on the list, there's 2 that stand out, and obviously I'm biased. I am a Bears fan, so my first one is going to be Eddie Jackson. I don't think that there's 3 safeties in the league that are better than Eddie Jackson. So I think that he at least could have been in the top 100, and I would argue that there's safeties on there that he's better than in the top 100. And then another guy that I unfortunately have to watch our Bears play twice this season would be Eric Kendricks. I think that he is a lot better than people realize, particularly in coverage as well. And as we know, that off-ball linebackers that can actually cover tight ends and some wide receivers is not very common. I thought that he probably should have been on the list, and Levante David being at 100 is nuts. But it won't matter because next season he won't be, because the Bucs will be in the spotlight and a lot more, and people will be able to see him play. But those are the 3 that jumped out right away, and then we'll get into the rest of the list as we start to break it down.
Yeah, I would like to add Kevin Byard. I think he he had a pretty solid season. Like he had a really underrated season. I felt like he was like a big time catalyst in that Titans defensive run, or run to the playoffs. He was a major one for me as a snub. As far as in the list though, Wakanda, who do you have as a snub in the list?
I mean, looking at the list will. I'm glad that you kind of said that, because the list will kind of confuse you. So if we start with the quarterbacks, and this is no disrespect to his resume and the player that he is, but if we look at last season alone, there is no way on earth that Tom Brady is the 14th best player in the league. That's not even remotely possible. I'm sorry. And then if we go further down with the quarterbacks, I'd argue that Kirk Cousins, Tannehill, and Kyler Murray are entirely too high, and Patrick Mahomes is low. Even though he's in the top 5, he's still low. He should be no lower than second, in my opinion. I think that him and Aaron Donald are the 2 best players in the league. But those 3 quarterbacks are entirely overrated, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I feel like Rodgers got a bit of a snub too, like sitting behind Brady. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's just I thought that was a little bit ridiculous. Yeah, Deshaun Watson. Yeah, that was another one.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson, where he was, with where Brady was and where Watson was, I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, I'm with that. Now let's dive into the top 100 here. Let's go with the bottom 10. That's going to be Levante David, Darren Waller, Brandon Brooks at 98. Come on now. Buda Baker, Chris Carson, Frank Clark, Jason Kelsey, Allen Robinson, Darius Slay, Grady Jarrett, and Kyler Murray. Mr. Jim Jones, let's go over with you, man. These bottom 10, do you have any issues with any of these guys' rankings?
Yeah, man, I think it's a little early for Waller. Especially some of the players that got left off. One good season after being a fringe player. Yeah, I mean, that was one that jumped off the screen for me. And then Chris Carson, he just can't stay healthy. So yeah, he's a stud when he's healthy, but again, it's not enough time on the field to be to beat out some of the players that he beat out to make this list. But those are 2. Everybody else, I mean, I'm okay with everybody else in there.
Yeah, what about you, man? Any notable things out here?
Yeah, I was impressed to see Chris Carson on that list. I mean, in my opinion, I thought he was more or less unsung hero over with Seattle, because I believe if he's there last year during that game in the playoffs, that they probably win that game instead of Marshawn Lynch. So I feel like he's really like a key piece to Seattle's success is being able to just hand the ball off up, right, run dives, and we'll get those physical, tough yards. So I believe that he's probably not snubbed, but it's good to see that people recognize him.
I have a question just for the panel, if y'all don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Chris Carson's on here at 96. Mm-hmm. If you had the choice, would you have Chris Carson or Joe Mixon?
Based off of last year, or just in general?
I mean, off of last year, I don't know. I think obviously Joe Mixon was on a terrible team, but I think if you put Joe Mixon on the Seahawks are a lot better than what they were with Chris Carson. Just my opinion. And Joe Mixon's not on the list.
Yeah,
that's the point. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I would Mixon, like, he was getting hit as soon as he had the ball. So Carson had a better O line, I feel like, but he fumbled a lot. Like, that's something going unsaid. He fumbled a lot.
He lost them 2 games specifically with fumbles. That
New
Orleans game and the 49ers game too. Right.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like Miles Sanders had a better season. I know it's biased, but I feel like.
Oh my God!
But I'm just saying, to me, he had a better season than Carson. I mean, he didn't have the fumbles. He had the reception yards. He was all over the place, But as far as Chris Carson, Joe Mixon, I would pick Mixon over him.
So Chris Carson had over 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns, but he had 7 fumbles, and Joe Mixon had just under 1,140 yards and 8 touchdowns with 2 fumbles, and he played for Cincinnati, and Carson was with Seattle. So I don't know. It's just tough. I think if we look at running backs, Mark Ingram is entirely too high as well. I think he's in the top 50, which I respect Mark Ingram, but he shouldn't be in the top 50. But that was kind of the one that stuck out. I think that Kyler Murray is a little too high, in my opinion. I think he didn't do enough, and they didn't want enough for him to be in the top 100. Although I think down the road he will be. I'm not going to acknowledge Allen Robinson because I think that not enough people saw him and we didn't play well enough to talk about where his placement is. The next guy I was looking at was Darius Slay. So we kind of were talking about it pre-show. I thought Darius Slay was the best player on the Lions. And as far as corners go, corners that follow the number one receiver, I think Stephon Gilmore and Trey White kind of lead the pack. But as far as that second tier of really good corners, obviously Jalen Ramsey being in that first class as well, I think Slay is there with pretty much anybody else that you would name, in my opinion. So I thought that was a little low for him at a premium position in the league.
Yeah, I feel like Allen Robinson maybe got shafted a little bit. I feel like he was a little better. As far as to his team, he was a bigger catalyst than I feel like than probably Cooper Kupp. I feel like Allen Robinson was more of a factor for his team than maybe not Cooper Kupp, but Larry Fitzgerald. I feel like Allen Robinson should be above Larry. I know Fitz and who he is and his reputation, but I feel like Robinson quietly had a really, really good season.
Yeah, he did. He had a very good season. Problem is we couldn't get the ball to him or we're overthrowing him by 10 yards, but that's a different conversation for another time.
Yeah. Well, now you have Nick Foles, the savior of football, so
we'll see, man. If he doesn't get hurt too.
That's a
but Slay, I mean, because I look at like a guy like Logan Ryan's in the top 70, and I don't know. I know it's supposed to be on one season, but you're not going to tell me that you're taking Logan Ryan over Darius Slay. I just don't see it. So okay.
Now, Jim Jones, did you have something to say about the Carson Mixon question?
Yeah. he mentioned that Seahawks would have won the game if Carson wasn't there, but again, he wasn't there. I mean, unfortunately, he was hurt, but
Yeah.
that's been the biggest knock on his whole career. Not only does he fumble a lot, he's been hurt a lot, and when he's on the field, he's an absolute stud. Like, I mean, I take him over a lot of running backs in the league, but when we talk on this list, like, I mean, he is kind of, again, the players that he's in over, I wouldn't put him there.
Yeah, again, just to touch on Chris Carson, he had 1,400 yards, all-purpose yards, somewhere through there, with a lot of touches. Miles Sanders had 1,300 with nearly, just a little over half. Chris Carson. So I'm just saying, I'm just throwing that out there.
Here's another guy though that I think you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I remember seeing him on the list. What about Austin Eckler?
I don't think he was on the list.
Yeah.
He's not.
Right, the fact of him being snubbed, he definitely should be on the list, but I would not put Chris Carson last season over Austin Eckler's last season. Austin Eckler was a dog, man, and especially in the receiving game, but he was the workhorse running back too. He really carried that team for a few games. Yeah,
with Gordon holding out, he sure did.
I think it's the same factor with the Waller. Like, it's early on Eckler. Let's see if Eckler does it again this year. Then he makes his case.
He just never really had the workload.
Oh, he definitely
almost 1,000 yards receiving. Yeah. Almost 1,000 yards receiving, 600 yards rushing, 11 touchdowns.
And here's my thing with Eckler. Those touches don't equate to wins. Like when the other running back was there, they were winning. They won when he was the workhorse. And then he holds out and then they fall off. That's my thing with Chris Carson. Is that when he's there, Seattle's winning.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
That's fair. I just think it's different because I think Phillip Rivers was the main reason the Chargers kind of fell off, and their defense wasn't as good.
The Chargers find ways to lose games too. Yeah, that's another thing. They create ways to lose.
Like complementary football is big, and I believe that when you have a running back that's like. What's the guy's name? I can't even remember his name. He's somewhere else.
You're talking about Melvin Gordon? He's in Denver now.
Melvin Gordon, right. When you have a guy like him, it's just complementary. It just goes hand in hand. They hold the ball a little longer, defense rests, and possessions just become more and more vital. But that's how I see it, and that's why I like Chris Carson. Not explosive, but he's going to grind out the yards. And I watch a lot of Seahawks games because I'm in Portland, so I'm kind of a homer. Kind of, not really.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that is a good point about him. I mean, that team is a totally different animal with Chris Carson out there. Man, I don't know. I just feel like he shouldn't be on the list. I don't know. Just me. Maybe it's my hatred after the playoff game.
He did run hard, though. I do like that he runs with an attitude for sure. I think if he gets the fumbling down, he's a no-brainer next season.
I mean, Miles puts the ball on the turf too. I mean, we brought up Miles.
Yeah,
put that ball on the
turf. Wait a minute. He fumbled twice. I will say
we've reached the maximum time allowed talking about Miles Sanders for this podcast. By the way, just throwing that out there.
All right, let's move on to the next 10.
Yeah. The next one, 80 through 89. Right now we have Cooper Kupp at 89, Jalen Smith. With the Cowgirls at 88.
Yikes.
Josh Allen. We got Marlon Humphreys, Zach Ertz, Cameron Hayward, Eric Kendricks.
Oh, he is on the list. I take back what I said then. My bad.
Ryan Ramczyk. I think that's how you say it.
Ramczyk,
I'm not sure. Ramczyk. Yeah, DK Metcalf and Myles Garrett. Jim Jones, we'll start with you. Any notable here?
I think Cooper Kupp is super low. You saw what happened to the offense when he went out.
When he went out, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think just glancing at it again, I'm big on like, like putting together some games behind you. DK Metcalf being on here up this high is, he's a little too high for just one season. But yeah, I mean, Zach Ertz, I think he's probably the second best, maybe even the first best tight end in the league. So he's super low to me. Yeah. And Marlon Humphrey is one of the best like cover corners in the league. So looking at this list is weird. Josh Allen shouldn't even be on the list. I'm not even gonna talk about him.
Okay, hang on. I was just gonna get to that. We're gonna put Josh Allen at 89 or 87, but not even put Carson Wentz. Okay, come on.
Yeah.
It gets crazy. It gets crazy in the 80s. I'm just gonna say that.
All right. So I mean, looking at the list, right? So we've got Cooper Kupp. I like Jalen Smith a lot. I think if Dallas has a better season, he's higher. I would say Josh Allen shouldn't be there. And with the corners, again, I'm not ragging on this guy because I like this guy a lot, and I know Rev's going to think we're hating on the Titans, but Ryan Tannehill and Logan Ryan, I'm okay with where Derrick Henry is because I feel like he did carry them in the playoffs within the game of the Super Bowl. But Logan Ryan and Ryan Tannehill are entirely too high. This is craziness that Marlon Humphrey and Darius Slay are below Logan Ryan. And then, the rest of the crew, Cameron Hayward, another really good 3-4, nose technique that also plays on the end as well. Probably doesn't get the pub that he deserves, but it's been a really good mainstay for the Steelers defense. I think I'm in agreement with you guys on DK Metcalf. Probably shouldn't be there quite yet because I don't even think he cracked 1,000 yards. But Eric Kendricks is there, which I missed him somehow. I didn't think he was in here for whatever reason. But what I wanted to get to was number 8 and get you guys' opinion because, as we all know, Myles Garrett is a monster in Madden. And he just got that extension in real life. And his numbers are pretty good. But I wonder, will he ever be kind of what they were saying he was going to be, where he's going to be the best defensive player in football? What do you guys think? Starting with you, Kylo.
Yeah, go ahead, Kylo.
Say it one more time. I tuned out.
Myles Garrett, is he going to end up being the world beater that people thought he was going to be?
I think he's going to be in that conversation. He's not anywhere close to where some of the other guys are. Like, I don't think he's close to Joey Bosa. Nick Bosa, maybe around there, probably just outside the top 5, but I don't think he's going to be the guy like they're expecting.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel like he does get double teamed a lot. He doesn't get the production that we expected, and definitely not the production that he gets in Madden 21. But I feel like he's also his ranking is going to take a hit because of that incident with that quarterback. I can't remember who it was. Mason Rudolph. I think players. This is a player vote. I feel like that's going to affect him for the next couple of years. I think people are going to look at that and be like, "Man, this guy, I don't know. We'll put him at 80." He has all the tools to be a beast, but something's missing, man. Something's missing.
Wow, that just made me think of another. Well, I'll ask you guys if it's a snub. So I just noticed that Myles Garrett is the only Brown from that defense. Denzel Ward's not in the top 100. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know. Is he that good?
Yeah, I don't know if he had that good of a season.
He doesn't get thrown at a whole lot because it's Ward and Greedy Williams, if I'm correct, on the other side.
Yeah.
But that defense ended up being really good the second half of the year. And a lot of it was because of Myles Garrett, but then he had the suspension too. And if I remember correctly, Ward had a pretty good end to the season. But I see it in the comments too that people are talking about DK Metcalf as well.
Yeah, Ward was super solid. Greedy was getting abused.
Yeah, I know Greedy was getting
abused. And I guess teams are like, why throw at their best corner when we got this guy over here that's just like open season? So
yeah,
he definitely should be on the list though. That's a good one right there. I didn't even notice that he wasn't on there.
Yeah, just looking at like a guy like. No disrespect to Josh Allen. They went to the playoffs. But after watching him play against Houston, I'm like, there's no way on earth.
Right?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I don't know, man. I don't want to rag on people because they're professionals. They're at the best top of their craft.
They're
but
at
still,
the top.
I don't know, man.
Okay, let me get in on this on the 80s.
Okay.
Metcalf. I believe Metcalf is definitely overrated. I mean, like I said, I watch a lot of Seattle games, and he gets a lot of one-on-one deep balls, and he was not coming down with them early in the season. he started to capitalize later on, but I just think he's overrated there. Myles Garrett, I didn't see a lot of games, so I'm not really sure on what he was doing. But I do have an opinion on Jalen Smith.
Okay, yeah, let's go.
At 88, he should. I don't feel like he's the problem there. I feel like the pass rush is the problem. And if they
I would
can
agree with
dial
that.
up a better, if they can dial up a better pass rush, we could see the best version of Jalen Smith. That dude's a monster right there. I don't know what's holding him back right now, but I think he should be further up on the list.
Do you think because of Van Der Esch's injuries and him not playing the full season that impacted where Jalen ended up?
That's what I was going to say.
I don't know because they still had I call this guy, he steals money. Oh, the other outside linebacker, he's just always injured. I mean, that dude's always stealing money. Yeah. He's getting away with murder over there. He's stealing money all day but yeah, I believe with him, he's still solid. So when Van Der Esch went out, you still have Lee playing, and I think it was more their pass rush. They couldn't generate a pass rush, in my opinion. But I see him going up.
Yeah, I think he can go up with Van Der Esch being there. With me, like I said, I'm a Bears fan, and we played Dallas, and I've seen the Vikings twice for a while now since this guy got drafted. If you told me to pick between Kendricks and Smith based on their play, not the upside, not the athleticism, and all the other stuff, but strictly the tape, I probably would take Kendricks, to be honest. I think Jalen arrives with better force to the ball, but he's out of position a lot more than Kendricks is. Kendricks and Harrison Smith, I think, and Earl Thomas would be another one I would throw in there, are some of the most positionally sound players in the NFL. And that's why I think, because they're not super athletic and they don't make big flashy plays, that people don't talk about them, but they're always in the right spot. I think Jalen Smith, because he's so aggressive, he runs himself out of plays, at least from some of the games I've seen of the Cowboys playing. But when he's on, he makes them a top 5 defense when he's playing really well. It just all the other stuff comes together. He can take away the middle, intermediate part of the field.
Yeah, I agree with that. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, Kendrick is definitely like a more instinctive player, and Jalen is just more athletic. Yeah. And like, it's to talk about Sean Lee, you can't. You in Dallas, you can't talk about Sean Lee, man. Like he can't move like
and Witten.
You gotta relax. You gotta relax with the Sean Lee hate.
I will say, Sean Lee. He's probably gonna find himself in that Jalen Rose skit. Keep getting them checks. I mean, because that man.
Oh man! I mean, y'all talking about him like he's Sam Bradford or something.
I mean, he plays like 3 games a season. I will say this though, like. My father-in-law is a huge Cowboys fan, so we watch them too with my family. Yeah, and Sean Lee was always one of my guys. Even though I hate the Cowboys, like there's just certain players that I love to watch. And Sean Lee, when he was in his prime, like he was a dog. Like he was one of these guys that I was just like, man, like
they won a lot when he played.
Yeah,
their record was like 80% when he played games.
Yeah. I mean, he was a true definition of a Gruden grinder, man. Like he. that guy just worked his ass off, man. It's really sad to see how his career is ending right now. The downward trend is going in right now with all the injuries, because he's the guy. I feel like he deserves better, man. He lays it all out there. That's coming from an Eagles fan, so I'm just saying. But kudos to him for collecting those checks, though.
Y'all are crazy, man. These guys are pros. Next 10. Let's get to the next 10.
He and Jason Peters. Boy, those guys, man, I tell you.
Hey, now.
Damn.
Hey, these guys are professionals, all right? I don't want to hear that.
They are. I give them their respect. They deserve that.
Let's move on to the next group here. We have Calais Campbell, Tyron Smith, Keenan Allen, Marshawn Lattimore, Earl Thomas, Ronnie Stanley, Fletcher Cox. I mean, okay. Josh Jacobs and Jarrell Casey, Fred Warner. Jim Jones, let's start with you again here. Any notable spots here?
I mean, I watch the guy. We play him twice a year. Fletcher Cox is the top 2, and he is 2. I mean, because we all know who number 1 is. Yeah. But he's definitely a stud in the middle. He was hurt a lot this year, so I guess that's what kind of like hurt his rating. But again, when he's out there, he's a force. Josh Jacobs, I was one of the ones that was big on him. I drafted him early in fantasy. I knew he was going to be a stud. I feel like he should be a lot higher, especially above Mark Ingram, who we're going to get to eventually.
Yeah.
And then Ronnie Stanley, man, like that Ravens O-line is the reason why Mark Ingram is ranked where he is. So that's
and the success that Lamar Jackson had.
Yeah. I mean, Keenan Allen, I can't forget my boy Keenan. I can't believe Keenan Allen, man. That's snub. He always snubbed though, so that's just where he lives at.
Yeah.
I feel
just
like
saying, never seen him and J. Cole in the same place at the same time. Just saying.
Yeah, I feel like Keenan Allen gets a lot of hate. I think he's a lot better than 77, but that's just me.
Oh, yeah.
Kylo, what about you, man? These next 10.
I like Josh Jacobs where he's at 72. I think he had a really good year. He really carried that Raiders team at times, and it did translate into wins, and he was healthy the whole year. So I like him there. Jarrell Casey, I don't really agree with Jarrell Casey being above Fletcher Cox. That's not even because of bias. I think Cox is just definitely better than him and had a better season too. Way better season. But having said that, I think Casey definitely belongs on this list and probably around that spot. I think Cox is just a little bit too far back.
Yeah, I'm with that. What about you, man?
I'm all in with Fletcher. I believe he needs to be a lot higher than where he is. So I agree with everyone else. Also, another guy that's out there stealing money is Tyron Smith. So let's go ahead
oh my goodness!
Relax.
All right. Okay, he's over there stealing money. And another thing, Fred Warner, is he really that good? Is he really that good at
That's
that?
who I was gonna. That's who I was gonna talk about.
Yes, he is that. He is that good.
I watch a lot of San Francisco games, and I mean he's good,
man.
But I don't see him standing out like that.
He's around the ball every play.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I was gonna let y'all finish, but I don't know.
Okay, I'm done with it. I don't know.
Okay,
if he's that good.
So this group, 70 to 79. First of all, there's some guys that are ballers in this group. Calais Campbell, respect yourself, Falco. Calais Campbell, Earl Thomas.
Yes.
Both of those guys have been solid pros.
Yeah.
What stands out to me, though, is Fred Warner. And this is no disrespect to Fred Warner because I think he's a great player and he's going to have a great career. But if you told me that I just look at Fred Warner's production and then I look at the defense, the front four he played in front of. And I think if you switch Kendricks or Jalen Smith for Fred Warner, and I think both of those guys would be higher than where he is now. That doesn't mean that down the road he's not going to be an elite middle linebacker and he's not part of that next generation because he for sure is. The athleticism, the tackling in spaces was the thing that stood out to me in the Super Bowl. He is going to be the linchpin for them in that second level, that 49ers defense. But I do think that he's a little high. Jarrell Casey is also entirely too high. I really feel like Mark Henry just dragged all these other Titans into the top 100, and they didn't even get the right guy in the top 100. Kevin Byard should be the only other guy in the top 100 with him. The rest of them should not be.
I'm with that.
I don't know who said it, but yeah, as far as one techniques and noses, if there was one point you could make the argument that Fletcher Cox was 1B to obviously Aaron Donald is 1A. I don't think he had as great a year, but I do think that 73 is I wouldn't say disrespectful, but a little low is what I would say. As far as left tackles in football, which I would argue is the second most important position besides quarterback, and then I would say your edge rusher would be third, and then slot corner would be fourth. Ronnie Stanley is in the top 3. I would think that Taron Armstead is probably the first one, and then Ronnie Stanley is second. So I don't know if Armstead is on this list for the Saints, but Ronnie Stanley, I think, could be higher. Earl Thomas is tough just because I don't think he is what he was before, but I do think that he should still be in the 100. Marshawn Lattimore, I'm a little iffy on because I didn't really see a whole lot of their games. The one game I saw was that playoff game against the Vikings, and Diggs made him look pretty bad. I think that Keenan Allen, because he's fast, he doesn't get the attention that he deserves. Doesn't help that he's in the same division as Tyreek Hill, so I don't think he gets the pub that he deserves. But as far as route runners in the league, I think there aren't 3 better than him in the league. Tyron Smith always injured, but when he's healthy, I think he's a premier left tackle. And I think Calais Campbell is going to make the Baltimore defense even more scarier this year. And I thought they had a pretty good year this year. So I think this 70 through 79 pretty good. Josh Jacobs, man, I think I agree with the sentiment that was said, man. Gruden's offenses have always had good running backs. He's a guy that I think with time, first of all, is getting disrespected in the Madden. He's a lot faster than 86 or 87 BS that they had for
awful.
him.
Yeah.
Because he ran away from my Bears pretty frequently in London. He's definitely faster than 87. I'll tell you that much. And that's a guy that I would keep an eye on to move faster. I still think Mixon should be on this list, but Josh Jacobs, I like where he is, and I think him and Fred Warner are the ones that I think are going to make a serious jump next year. Fred Warner I wasn't big on this year, but that defense, I think that defense earned a couple of representatives, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I can see that. I think another one to add on that list, if this player had the 49ers front line, he would be higher than what he does. Levante David, I feel like he's
Levante David too. Yeah. As far as will linebackers, man, it's a really short list of guys that aren't liabilities that actually are difference makers. It's crazy to me that Levante David's at 100. I know that a lot of teams don't play the 4-3 as much, but that responsibility in the run game and then lining up against that team's tight end or slot receiver, it's a thankless job. People don't, when you're doing your job well, people won't notice you. It's only when you're bad that people notice. So I just thought that was crazy. He's at 100. Oh yeah, and then J-Rod mentioned in the chat Darius Leonard. That was actually another guy I thought of too, not being in the top 100.
He's at 50.
Oh, is he? He's at 50?
Yeah, he's at 50, yeah.
I actually thought he was, he's a pretty good spot.
I think he's a little, really, I feel like he's a little low. Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, really?
He's a little high.
You think he's low? You think he's high?
I think he's a little high.
Hmm.
A little.
Well,
a little.
Okay.
I don't know about the.
Let's wait till we get to it.
I don't know about the linebackers above him, but I think he's a little high.
I would need to see who was above him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few that's above him that little questionable for me, but yeah, let's get to it.
Come on, let's get to 60, man. Let's get to 60 and 61.
Starting at 69, Larry Fitzgerald. 68.
Yeah, oh man, forgot about that.
Ryan Trashahill. 67. Thank you. Demario Davis. 66. Laramie Tunsil. 65. Tyler Lockett. Harrison Smith. Preston Smith. David Bakhtiari. Jarvis Landry at 61, and rounding it out, Logan Ryan at 60.
Now we should start getting spicy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mr. Jones, let's go with you.
Yeah. Laramie. You know what I mean? I'm a Cowboys fan, so I know about holding linemen. Larry Allen did a lot of holding in his days, but he made up for being a dog. Laramie's just not that guy for me, man. And then what he was traded for.
Yeah.
Again, like it's just like he's way too high. David Bakhtiari, one of my favorite players, man. He should be a lot higher. He's one of the best linemen in the league.
Yeah.
Jarvis, everybody hate Jarvis, but he produces, man. Jarvis produces. Logan Ryan, I think he's solid. He's getting up there in age, but he's solid. I like this grouping of people. I'm not going to speak on Tannehill because he did go over there and win in Tennessee. So I'm not even going to speak on him. And Larry the Legend.
This might be the worst grouping that we've had so far, in my opinion. But y'all go ahead.
Ooh, no, yeah, you go ahead.
I don't know. I just don't want to trash people. So I live in the Minneapolis area, and I know Larry Fitzgerald Sr., and it doesn't surprise me that Larry Fitzgerald is the person that he is. But Larry's too high, man. Larry's too high.
Yeah.
He might be the slowest wide receiver in the league. One of the best run blockers, and probably one of the best hands. But he's entirely too high. You cannot tell me that Larry Fitzgerald should be in front of Keenan Allen. I'm sorry. No disrespect to him. We're not going to harbor on it because he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill, I don't think should be on this list. We've already discussed him. I'll move along with that. Demario Davis, man, is somebody that I don't think gets enough love because really outside of Cameron Jordan, the Saints front seven is not particularly that good. But when you have a captain in the defense, he kind of covers a lot of sins for them. So I think he is somebody that maybe is properly rated, but could be possibly a little bit higher. Laramie Tunsil, I've never been a particularly big fan of just because of what they were talking about with the penalties and the holding. I've never thought that he was particularly great. I thought that trade was the Texans front office in general is crazy.
Yeah.
Laramie Tunsil, I don't think should be that high. Tyler Lockett, I don't think should be that high. No disrespect to him. I think he's a great player, but I don't think he's better than Keenan Allen. I don't think he should be above him. And then Harrison Smith is somebody that actually, these next three guys, I would be very happy if their teams traded them away because I'm tired of seeing them. But Harrison Smith is way too low. Harrison Smith should not be below the top 40.
Homer.
That is crazy. He should not be below the top. As far as, like I said, positionally sound, guys that are never out of position. People talk about Jamal Adams, but Harrison Smith is who Jamal Adams patterns his game after. He's just a little bit more athletic, but Harrison Smith doesn't make the mistakes Jamal Adams does. He has better hands. So Harrison Smith should be higher. I think Preston Smith was a huge difference for them, for the Packers defense. And Bakhtiari is, if he's not the best left tackle, he's probably the second best, I would say. Him, Ronnie Stanley, and then Armstead for the Saints. You can make an argument for any of those three, I would say, at left tackle. Jarvis Landry is productive. I will give him that. I think he's a little high again, just based on where Keenan Allen is. I wouldn't have them there. I like Logan Ryan. I don't want to rag on Logan Ryan at all. It's just you telling me that Marcus Lattimore, Marlon Humphrey, and Darius Slay aren't better than him, I would say no. So that was my only thing. I think this is probably the worst grouping that we've seen so far as the 60s.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Tyler Lockett is entirely way too high for my taste.
That's crazy.
Like 65,
Lockett and Tunsil, I was trying to be respectful. Lockett and Tunsil are crazy. Fitz is crazy too, but he's a Hall of Famer, so I'm going to put some respect on his name. But this grouping is pretty bad. Yeah,
I feel like Fitz got up there just solely on respect. Like we were talking, pre-show, and a lot of these are done just purely out of respect. I feel like it's at 69. That was just a pure "we see you" guy, And Tyler Lockett at 65. That one to me was the most mind blowing out of this one. Like Jarvis Landry, I can see him at 61. Like okay, Logan Ryan maybe a little too high for my taste, but Laramie Tunsil at 66, Tyler Lockett at 65. Those two were mind blowing for me. Now,
my thing is, if Laramie's going to be on the list, even though Peters was injured, Peters should be on the list. So for Laramie to be on the list and then be this high and in front of pretty good offensive linemen like a Brandon Brooks and a Jason Kelsey, no, thank you.
Yes, exactly. Another one that I feel like Preston Smith might be a little bit too low. I love watching Preston Smith play.
I don't at all.
Really? I love
I'm
his
a Bears
play
fan.
style.
That's why he fucking terrorizes us. But yeah, he's a great player, man. Both of them. Darius Smith too.
How about you, Ben, on this list here?
The only thing I have to say about these 60 guys is the reason why the Dolphins suck so bad is because we have three guys right here: Jarvis Landry, Laramie Tunsil, and Ryan Tannehill. They all were Dolphins at the same time, and they're all playing on a different team.
Yeah.
Went to the playoffs. And the Jets freaking coach Gase. This is his. I'm done. But that's it. That's all I want to say. Good group.
I'm sorry, man. That sounded painful.
Yeah. Let's move on to the 50 here, since we're coming up on time here. Let's go number 50 here through 60. Odell Beckham at 59, Kirk Cousins at 58, Devontae Adams 57, DeForest Buckner at 56, Zach Martin, Stephon Diggs, Marcus Peters, Chris Jones, Todd Gurley, and Darius Leonard.
See Gurley, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Oh, Lord.
Kylo, let's start with you here on this one.
Okay, let's just go over the ones that we think should not even be here, okay? Kirk Cousins and Todd Gurley. Stop.
Wow.
Kirk Cousins and Todd Gurley. Are you kidding me? They're this high. Todd Gurley shouldn't be on this list. Kirk Cousins should not be in front of Kyler Murray, in my opinion. But that's just
Kyler Murray shouldn't even be on the list, so I would say Cousins shouldn't be on.
Okay, well, then there you go.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, that one was crazy. What about you, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, I'm looking at the list. Devontae Adams is a top 10 player, top 15 at least. So, just looking at that.
I was going to say, Devontae Adams should be way higher.
Yeah, that's because of his injury.
Oh yeah,
Zach Martin. Zach Martin probably probably the best interior lineman in the league, and that's not bias. That's just facts. Kirk. I mean, I watched Kirk down in Washington. He's not good. I mean, he has his moments. So I'm gonna leave it at that, man. That Kirk, get him off.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. What about you, man?
Beckham. I think that Cleveland is in trouble, and I think Beckham needs to be higher. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
I don't think he had a good year last year, but I could see. Okay, yeah, I mean, I guess I understand that. I think he's somebody that'll bounce back for sure because I think their offensive line is going to be better this year with the draft and the guys that they had. I think they'll be better. So Todd Gurley, we beat that horse. I don't think he should be there, and it's because of health. I think healthy is not even a conversation. But the two guys I just wanted to point out are going to be Chris Jones and Devontae Adams. Again, that one technique, those guys, talking about Aaron Donald and Fletcher Cox. For the Chiefs defense, Chris Jones is that difference maker. When he didn't play, they were awful and they lost games. When he did play, they didn't lose after that. They lost one game after he came back. I think he should be higher. And Devontae Adams is the best receiver that nobody talks about. He's a problem, man. He's not particularly fast. He's not particularly shifty, but he gets open. And when the ball gets to him, he catches it. So he is terrorizing NFC North. He's a really good player. I don't think he gets as much attention as he deserves. I know he didn't play particularly great against that 49ers team, but that was partly because they just couldn't block anybody. So he didn't really get a lot of looks. But I think both of those two, Chris Jones and Devontae Adams, are really, really solid players. This grouping isn't as bad. Zach Martin, another great player as well.
Yeah, I'm with the Devontae Adams being entirely too low. I know the injury must have hurt him, but people
I know
forgot.
he was like top 40 last year, so that's kind of surprising.
He was top 35, and then he was at 35, and then it even says in the little blurb about him on NFL.com that people are usually blaming the 4-game absence that he had this season for his drop. So I guess
well, that's what's crazy to me is that the game that he got injured on, he was over 200 yards receiving. That was against the Eagles. Yeah. The game that he had the turf toe, he had over 200 yards, which the Eagles won. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah.
But that he had a monster game, and that injury really affected him.
Was that Jalen Mills out there that was getting abused, or was that the other guy?
It doesn't matter. They don't get abused on the Eagles.
yeah, it was all of them, man. It was bad. It was bad. But that to me, if he didn't get the turf toe, who knows what his season could have been like. He could have been a top 3 receiver without that injury. I mean, turf toe for a receiver, it's a crazy one, man.
Yeah, that's one of the bad. Yeah, I was gonna say that's one of the bad injuries to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say another one for me that's a little low. Darius Leonard. I just like, man, the guy's absolutely solid. I feel like he's better than 50. How do you guys feel about that?
He could have been an All-Pro as a rookie. He had a really good case for it, and I think that he was even better this year. So he's somebody that doesn't get enough attention.
I think it just depends on who's above him. I gotta look at the rest of this list, but if there's
the off-ball people, not the 3-4 outside linebackers.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, looking at this list, he's the top off-ball linebacker, which would be pretty fair. You can make that argument.
Yeah.
So if
there's nobody above him, then he should be okay. All right. Well, we'll see.
Okay. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. Let's move on to the next round here. Amari Cooper, starting off with Amari Cooper at 49, then Zadarius Smith, Tre'Davious White, Dak Prescott at 46, J.J. Watt, Mark Ingram, Jimmy Garoppolo, Alvin Kamara, Jadeveon Clowney, Daniel Hunter at 40. How do you guys feel about that? Yeah, Jones, let's go with you, man.
The biggest thing that jumps off the screen to me is 44 and 43, Garoppolo and Ingram. They're way too high.
Oh yeah.
I'm okay. Actually, I'm actually okay with everything else. That's just the two that just jump off the screen right there.
What about the guy that didn't play?
Yeah, JJ Watt.
25. JJ Watt.
I mean,
Yeah, JJ Watt, exactly.
Listen though, when Watt was playing, Watt looked like his.
Oh yeah, his pressures were nuts. Don't get me wrong. I saw the numbers.
So
I was tracking.
I saw,
but he didn't play. He hasn't played the last couple of years.
I saw enough from Watt to know, like, when healthy, like, he's a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, but like the other guys on this list got dropped a lot of the ways because of injuries. You can't not do that for him too. Like he really just
unless you're saying that they're dropping Watt from like the top 15 or something.
I mean, Watt any other year is a top 10 player, so he's all the way down to 45. So I think that's
okay.
Right. What about Cox though? He's pretty much got snubbed for the same reason. He played more games.
Yeah, that's a good argument.
We definitely agree on that point. Like Cox is way too low. So
all right, fair enough.
Gotcha. All right. Well, in this grouping, if we're going to acknowledge Jimmy G and Mark Ingram, I think we can go to the next one. I think Jadavion's too high, too. The only thing I wanted to say is, and again, it's because we freaking play them all the time, Danielle Hunter, Falco, which you should know because he's on your team before you trade them. Danielle Hunter.
Not anymore.
Man, he's the next one to watch, man. If you're not already watching him, I really feel like just watching him against the run this year, because that was the problem, is you could run at him, and he decided this year he just was not going to be blocked. I think next year, it wouldn't surprise me if he's in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year and he ends up being in the top 10 on this list.
Okay.
They need to get somebody across from him so he doesn't get double teamed with Everson Griffin, unless Everson Griffin comes back, which they're saying that's a possibility. But if he's still getting single coverage next year, I'm telling you guys, he's going to be the one that people will be talking about. He's that dangerous.
Okay. Yeah, let's move on to the next group here. Tyrann Mathieu, Chris Godwin, Jalen Ramsey, Nick Chubb, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Joey Bosa, Aaron Jones, Shaquille Barrett, Saquon Barkley, and topping at number 30, Mike Evans. What about you, man? This 30 through 40, how you feel about it?
Looks great. This Chris Godwin guy, I'm hearing a lot of good stuff about him, so I'm anxious to see him come back.
Yes.
But I'm not sure. I think I like the safeties here because safeties, I believe, are key to good defenses.
Yep.
Fair. I think the only thing I have about this is I think Joey Bosa could maybe be a little higher, but that's just nitpicking. I think this is a pretty good 10 right here.
Yeah, I like this 10. I think the $3 that you see mentioned, I think, is what got Tom Brady's interest. They've got pass rusher, 2 phenomenal receivers. Chris Godwin is worth Sunday ticket if you don't have it.
Yes.
Mike Evans is worth Sunday ticket if you don't have it. Probably won't need it now because they're going to be on the primetime games. But those 2 Twin Towers, as far as catching the ball in the air, playing the ball in the air, aside from maybe Julio Jones and Hop, this might be your next 2 pairing as far as them attacking the ball at the highest point. Both of those guys are scary. Yeah. Shaquille Barrett's another Neil Hunter's class where didn't get talked about nearly enough for the season that he had. And I would agree. I think Joey Bosa, and I actually would make the argument that Aaron Jones should probably be a little bit higher too. Minkah Fitzpatrick and I think Chubb probably would be higher. I think if Jalen Ramsey has a better season this coming season, he'll end up being a lot higher. And Tyrann Mathieu, I mean, he's a Swiss Army. I think this grouping for him is pretty good because I view him as 3 positions and not just 1. So I think this is a fair grouping for him. He's right where he should be.
Yeah, I feel like this is a good group. Godwin had a hell of a season. Like he was an absolute monster. I picked him up in fantasy. I drafted him. I think it was like 8th or 9th round, and he ended up being I think the number 2 or might have been number
3.
1. Yeah. He was definitely top 3. And man, he won me a bunch of money. So I got a lot of love for Chris Godwin. Jalen Ramsey at 37. Okay, I can see that. Nick Chubb,
not great. Yeah, he didn't play great this year.
I feel like Nick Chubb at 36 might be a little high. With Josh Jacobs where he is all the way down there, and Nick Chubb being at 36, that's a little high.
Well, with my argument to you would be with where Ingram ended up being, and with the season that Chubb had, and he didn't have Lamar Jackson next to him, I would say that Chubb is where he should be at because Chubb had 1,500 yards last year. So I'm in a pretty bad Cleveland Browns offense.
Yeah.
So that would just be my argument. And he played every game, whereas Ingram did not.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, so I'm okay with Chubb. I think if he has another year like that, I think that we'll see the Browns in the playoffs, to be honest, because I don't think the rest of the team will be as bad as they were if they continue to get a running game like that.
Let's move on to the top 30 here. We have at 29, Richard Sherman at 28, Jamal Adams, Von Miller, TJ Watt, Ezekiel Elliott, Cameron Jordan, Tyreek Hill, Dalvin Cook, and Deshaun Watson rounding out the top 20. A lot of big dogs here. Jones, how do you feel about this, man? The top this list here.
Yeah, I mean Quentin Nelson, absolute animal.
Yep.
I'm happy. I'm happy with this group until I think we getting down to like splitting hairs when you start getting down here in these numbers here. Von Miller still doing his thing. You got Zeke in there. It's a lot of heavy hitters in this group in here. Richard Sherman, I mean, he's a little overrated to me, but he performed. So yeah. I'm not even gonna get on him.
I might make y'all mad. I do think that Zeke is a touch high. I think he is a little high.
Okay.
A touch high. Just because of the season that Chubb had, I don't think, because Chubb's 12 spots away from him.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's a little far. Or if you compare their two seasons, I think that's a little far. That's all I would say.
That's fair.
I think Zeke is the better of the two. I won't argue that. Aaron Jones, if he was in an offense that didn't throw it as much, would have really good numbers. So I'm okay with even him being in front of him. But Zeke's a pretty healthy distance away from the other two. That would be my only thing. I think when healthy, we know what Zeke makes the Cowboys into. So I'm surprised we glossed over Dak being at 46, but I think Zeke for sure is in that top 30. I don't know about 24 based on this next group that we're about to get to. And Deshaun Watson's too low too, but we'll get to this next group to be able to see.
Yeah. I feel like Zeke got a little bit of love, but I mean, he's a dog. I mean,
he did drop a decent amount of spots though from where he was. He was 18 to 24, so okay, I guess. But I do think Nick Chubb should be above him.
I think Aaron Jones should be above him. Personally, I mean,
I think it's close.
16 touchdowns, or he had 19 touchdowns. He had 400 yards receiving. Aaron Jones did 3 touchdowns, 16 rushing touchdowns.
I was going to say Aaron Jones is, and I do think that I don't know if Dalvin should be one just because of the games that he missed, or in front of this group, I think Christian McCaffrey is one, but second, I don't know.
Another one on this list that I want to touch on, Deshaun Watson, at 20. I feel like he should be above Tom Brady for sure.
Absolutely.
Right. Agreed. What do you guys think about Tyreek being the 4th receiver? I think that's fair.
I think that's fair.
I think that's fair.
I'm okay with that, man. Tyreek is a one-trick pony, but that one trick is a damn good trick.
I was going to say, that one trick. That's the whole show. You go pay to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Because it's Thomas, it's Hopkins, it's Julio, and then Tyreek. So I do think that the wide receiving grouping at least is pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Now we're getting into the top 20 here. Khalil Mack at the bottom of the top 20 at 19. Man. Travis Kelce, Nick Bosa, Aaron Rodgers at 16. Chandler Jones, Tom Brady, Bobby Wagner, Drew Brees, Julio Jones, and Derrick Henry rounding out the top 10. How do you guys feel about this list?
You can take this one there, Wakanda.
Look, man, I've been civilized. I haven't said nothing crazy. But if you tell me that it's 18 guys on this planet better at football than Khalil Mack, you got to see me in the street. It's just not. No, absolutely not. Now, did he have the numbers? No. I'm not arguing that. But to go from, I think he was like 2nd or 3rd last year to be 19, no, I'm sorry. And no disrespect to Chandler Jones, because I do think that Chandler Jones doesn't get that he deserves, and he should be higher than 15. But Khalil Mack is, I'm just gonna leave it there because I like the rest of these guys in this group. But Nick Bosa is not better than Khalil Mack. Chandler Jones is not better than Khalil Mack. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Jim Jones, how do you feel about this one?
I mean, I do think Khalil Mack is better than Nick Bosa, but Chandler Jones is easily. I mean, not easily. He's right there. He's right there, man. Like, you gotta watch. You gotta watch. Chandler Jones is doing it by himself on that D line.
Yeah, I feel you. I would give Chandler Jones the respect because you're right. He does get doubled a lot. He does get doubled.
and we got Tom Brady on this list for
That's crazy.
some unknown reason. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. You know what I mean? He the GOAT.
He's the
so
GOAT.
I guess you get that one more year. It's your last year. Blah blah blah. But yeah, the Khalil Mack being 19 was the only thing that's jumped out to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, splitting hairs at this point. You know what I'm saying? The Nick Bosa love is because he got Bosa in his last name. He had a monster season, but he's definitely very high. So
he's high. If we get another year like that, I think he might not end up moving a whole lot because of just how high they put him this first year. So also shout out to Bobby Wagner too. Bobby Wagner doesn't get nearly the love that he deserves, especially coming from Wofford or whatever school he came from. He's clearing away the best middle linebacker in football.
Utah State, right?
Yeah, Utah State. You're right. Yeah, So Darius Leonard's at 50, Bobby Wagner's at 13. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, we already kind of talked about the quarterbacks with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, and Deshaun Watson probably being poorly placed. Tom Brady for even being in the top 20, honestly.
Yeah.
But what's crazy to me about this, what I just noticed, that Chandler Jones wasn't even on this list at all last year.
Yeah, which is nuts. That's what I said.
Yeah.
It's nuts. The disrespect that he gets, man. Because he gets doubled constantly. Everybody talks about Donald and Clowney and Bosa and all the other guys in that division. Chandler Jones is just as good as the rest of the guys. Maybe not Donald, but the rest of the guys, I'd argue he's better than, to be honest.
And what's crazy about Nick Bosa, if you want to compare them, is that Nick Bosa's defensive line that he has with him is nuts, right?
It's nuts. Exactly. That's exactly why.
Nuts. Like, of course he's gonna go off if he's like that kind of guy, But whatever.
Yeah. How do you feel about? Oh, go ahead, Jones.
So we talked about the one thing that's holding Myles Garrett back, and he doesn't have like a pass rush move. If you watch some film of Chandler Jones,
Chandler Jones gets to it. I will say that he definitely gets to it. He does not like to be touched at all.
Yeah, so many moves.
He's got to be offended to be blocked
sometimes.
Yeah, he's got to be offended to be blocked. That's if there was a guy that I would tell to watch another guy, it'd be Fred Warner to watch Wagner, and it'd be Myles Garrett to watch Chandler Jones. Because Chandler Jones, like you said, there's literally times he does not get touched on the play. He's that quick out of the gate, and his hand placement is really, really good.
Yeah, I like that. How about you, man? This top 10 or top 20?
Okay. I'm looking at the quarterbacks. I would move Drew Brees out of the top 10 or top 12. I'd move him out, and I'm bringing Rodgers down, and I'm also bringing Deshaun Watson in there too.
Yeah,
that's the only problem I have with that.
Okay.
And Carson
I would swap Brady for Rodgers. Brady, Wentz could be in there. Yeah.
I'm taking Rodgers at 12 and moving Brees out, because Rodgers, he put up numbers and they won.
Okay, what about Brady though?
Brady's out.
If you told me I had Brees, Brady, Rodgers, Watson, and I needed to move one to make room for Watson, it'd be because Brees and they made the playoffs and they played better.
Yep, agreed.
Well, Brees wasn't there though. Brees wasn't there, so
that is true. Brees was injured. Yeah,
right. So I'm taking Rodgers, who played the entire season and put up huge numbers and won. So I'm taking Rodgers.
Okay. I'll take that. That's fair.
I don't think he put up huge numbers, but I get what you're saying. He definitely played pretty well.
Yeah, no, he's definitely was productive. But it's just because his standard in his prime was so nuts that we look at these numbers and it's like it's not good. And then also in the lens of Mahomes being there.
Sorry, what?
Relax. You're good, bro. We got Tannehill, Cousins, Josh Allen, and Kyler Murray. Any of them can go for wins. I'm fine with it. Okay. Especially if Dak's going to be top 50.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Right,
let's move on.
How do you guys feel about Derrick Henry before we move on to the
I don't mind that.
Spots here.
He's a monster. He was a monster last
year.
Yeah,
I don't mind it.
One of my favorite players, man.
8 and 9 in the box. He ran how we thought he was going to start his career running. Yeah, we finally saw it this year, is what I would say.
Yeah,
right.
Fair.
And the straight line speed is a Madden. I think he was another guy that was like 87, 88. The straight line speed is way faster than.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Do you guys think the armbar was made because of Derrick Henry?
Wrecking ball for sure.
Yeah,
wrecking ball for sure. I would say.
I don't know, man.
And protective custody.
Is nasty.
Yeah, I've seen him take a guy and put him on his back took him off his feet, put him on his back, and kept running. I was like, oh.
I mean, he got Earl Thomas in a highlight, which is an accomplishment in itself, and he turned him into a lead blocker after Earl Thomas said they were going to stop him. So, he could do nothing the rest of his career, and all he would have to do is turn that highlight on of Earl Thomas like they were in Pop Warner or something.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh man. Yeah. Let's get to this top 10.
That's true. All right. Yeah. Let's go with number 9, Stephen Gilmore, DeAndre Hopkins at 8, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey at 6, Michael Thomas at 5, Patrick Mahomes 4, Aaron Donald at 3, Russell Wilson, and Lamar Jackson number 1. Jim Jones, let's go with you. How do you feel about this top 10?
I'm okay with Lamar being number 1. What I'm not okay with is George Kittle being the best tight end in the league. Like I said, I like Ertz, I like Kelsey, and then probably Kittle. Other than that, I'm okay. I'm actually okay with everything else. You know what I mean? I feel like Stephon Gilmore could have been a top 5 guy for me. Just what he did last year, and I don't remember anybody but like Revis and Dion doing that type of stuff. So I'm okay with everything else.
I understand the sentiment. My argument would be in favor of Kittle would be that he's the best blocker of the 3. That'd be my only argument. I think all three of them, I think it's closer than this list would suggest. I think Ertz is low. I can't believe I'm agreeing with Eagles fans, but I do think that Ertz is low. And I do think that Kelsey gets a little bit of a reputation of being a pass catcher. He's a pretty decent blocker when they run the ball. But I think Kittle, as far as the middle ground between those two, I think he does a little bit better than the other two, would be my argument. I don't like the rating disparity between them. It makes it seem like he's far and away better than, which I guess I get your point there. I don't think it's that close. I think the 3 of them are much more closer than this list suggests.
Yeah, I'm with the George Kittle. I don't think he belongs in the top 10.
Not if the others are going to be that far down.
Right. Right. Yeah. Kelsey should be a little higher. Well, yeah. He just doesn't belong in the top 10. Hopkins, okay, maybe. Michael Thomas at 5. I think Christian McCaffrey should be top 5. Michael Thomas playing with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Definitely benefiting from that. Christian McCaffrey was on his own and putting up the numbers that he was doing. And sitting at number 6, I just feel like he did so much for that team.
Any other season, he wins MVP.
Yes, exactly. Any other season, he would win MVP. Lamar Jackson at 1, that's a gimme. Well, maybe not a gimme because Patrick Mahomes in the season he had, but for me, it should be Lamar 1, Patrick Mahomes number 2, and then Donald, then Russell Wilson maybe.
I don't even put Russell Wilson in the top 5. I'd put him in the top 10, but I wouldn't put him in the top 5.
Oh, I don't know about that. I might have to disagree with you there.
I don't know. Well, like you think no, like I'm not. No disrespect to Russ, we're nitpicking at this point, right? But I would put him above McCaffrey's season, right? We're going off season. I wouldn't put him above McCaffrey's season, you know.
Only person's season that was better than McCaffrey's was Jackson.
Agreed.
But my argument to you would be if you gave Russell Wilson Baltimore's offensive line or Kansas City's offensive line and asked him would he put up Mahomes' numbers, I would think that he would get really close. He might not get exactly to what he did, but they'd be pretty close.
Russ is the best quarterback in the league.
With those weapons, absolutely.
Really?
Tyreek and Kelsey and McCoy, and now they're going to have Edwards-Helaire and Sammy Watkins and Mecole Hardman, as opposed to having Tyler Lockett and Metcalf?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then play those defenses as opposed to playing the 49ers and the Rams twice? Absolutely.
That's fair. Okay. I like that.
We're not going off of what ifs, though. We're supposed to be going off of...
No. Fair. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think, and not to say that what you're saying sounds crazy, because it doesn't. I think top 10 is fair. I look at the other quarterbacks, the weapons they have, and the offensive line they have, and I feel like Russ has the worst of all of them. Aside from maybe Watson, because I think Watson's offensive line is pretty bad too, and expensive. Russ, they just don't have anything in front of him to protect him, and I think he creates more plays down the field, with the exception of maybe Mahomes. But Mahomes' weapons are better than his. I think Russ I don't think he gets his just due, and I think the players did a good job of putting him in a position where people really get to talk about him like they should. I think he does, and him being in the Pacific Northwest, I don't think he gets his just due. A lot of that, he got a hard time because of Legion of Boom, and he did ride their back at the beginning of the career, but now on this back half of the career, he's turned into a truly elite quarterback.
Yeah, okay. I can go with that. But
and then the other thing I was going to say is I think that Stephon Gilmore, for him being Defensive Player of the Year, he's too low. Him and Aaron Donald are the only defenders in the top 10. But like we said, we talked about Kittle, and if I had to move somebody else down, it'd be Michael Thomas because I think DeAndre Hopkins is the best wide receiver in the league. So Kittle and Thomas would not be above Stephon Gilmore, in my opinion.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I like the rest of this grouping a lot. I like the rest of this grouping a lot.
Yeah. What about you, I? How do you feel about it?
I don't really have a lot of disputes about what people are, what we are picking, but in my opinion, I think that Russ and Lamar were out there, out front, and then you got to bring in Mahomes for what he's done. I do like Gilmore to come up in the top 5, in my opinion, and I would push Aaron Donald and McCaffrey probably outside of the top 5.
Really?
Yeah, only because I didn't think that they won enough. They helped their team win enough.
Exactly.
I think those other guys helped their team win, and they, propelled them to the playoffs. I like when you look at Lamar, he's got 1,000 yards rushing. I mean, that's an anomaly season. And then you look at Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, he's got over 1,000 yards receiving, and that's worthy of being in the top 10 alone. That's worthy that season alone. But if they are winning and they win that division, then he'd be my MVP. I'd move him up. But other than that, no. I'm going Lamar, then I'm gonna go Russell, then I'm gonna go Patrick, and then I'm gonna sneak in Gilmore as number 4.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm gonna go with McCaffrey, because McCaffrey had that 1,000 season, which is that. I mean, you never see it. Roger Craig.
Okay.
You never see that.
I mean, I don't know, man. Aaron Donald does everything but throw, man.
Yeah, yeah.
He does everything but throw.
I love it. When they're winning, I love it, but I don't know.
Okay.
I like that. Okay.
It's tough for me because I feel like positionally, like guys good at their position and what their role is supposed to do, a 3-4 interior defensive lineman isn't supposed to get the production that Aaron Donald does, and especially not at his size. Yeah, so I would argue that outside of Mahomes, because I do think that Mahomes is the best at the most important position, that Aaron Donald is the second best player in the league. And I wouldn't say by far, but by a decent margin, the best defender in the league. And that is with respect to Stephon Gilmore, because he was a defensive player of the year, and I think he deserved to be. But I can't put him in front of Donald. I think he should be higher, but not in front of Donald. And I don't see how if you were going to another planet and was explaining how to play American football, I don't see how Aaron Donald wouldn't be one of the first 5 names that you say of the players today. That's just kind of the thing. That's what I would look at it as. I don't see how you do it. There's not a way to. Yeah. There's nobody else in the league like him at his size, where he plays, and the production that he gets. I don't think you could do it.
If you have the number 1 pick overall, you're going to take who?
The number 1 pick overall with everybody their current age?
Yeah, right now.
Oh, right now it would be Patrick Mahomes. It would be my number 1 pick. Yeah. But if it was regardless of age and it was just player, it'd be Mahomes, and then I would think about Aaron Donald. I seriously would consider Aaron Donald that too. Because then, even if he's double teamed, even if I don't get another pass rusher next to him, he is going to wreck the game for people. He's going to make it impossible for quarterbacks to step up in the pocket. And that's one of the biggest things that you can do to combat these offenses, because you can't touch the receivers. But if you can prevent the quarterback from stepping up in the pocket, it makes things a lot easier. Russ and Patrick Mahomes are able to make a difference, and Lamar too, is they can get outside of the pocket and make throws. But as we know, the majority of the league can't consistently do that. So that's why. But Mahomes would be my first pick, yes. But Aaron Donald, I would take a long look at Aaron too.
Okay. I can go with that. Now, just to finish off the show here, because we are running out about an hour and a half, and I know we have some games to get to and whatnot. Jim Jones, we're going to give you the floor. let the people know, because this is, again, going on Spotify, going on Apple Podcasts, going on Google Podcasts, as well as here on Twitch. Let the people know about your league, where we can find it, and everything that people need to know about your league.
Yeah, I mean, we're a solid league, man. We go from the beginning of the Madden cycle to the end of the Madden cycle nonstop. You can find us on Twitter at lhelmets. I don't know how do you say a Twitter handle, at lhelmets. I guess that's how you say it. Yeah. at lhelmets for our Twitter. You can follow us there. Join us in the chat if you want to just chop it up and have a good conversation. We talk football. We talk MMA. This is a group of guys that have been around each other for, about the last 4 years. So it's just a good group of guys that just like to play the game. It's not a lot of drama, anything like that. So, we're going on 5 years now. This past year was probably our best year. We got in 10 seasons. So, we're looking to do bigger things this year. We got a website coming, working on a podcast. Just got guys that just want to do different things in the league, putting out highlight videos, things like that. So, sky's the limit. I see, man. I see a lot of good things happening in the community in general, and I just want us to be a part of that, and then help other leagues and everything like that, and just keep bringing this thing up. Even if EA isn't going to put out a good game for us, we can find a way to make it fun.
For sure. Now, you guys are in abilities league or non-abilities, or where do you guys fall on that?
Yeah, we're abilities league, man. We don't really deviate from what Madden offers. Our rules, we don't try to limit the players from being able to play. We just wanna limit the cheesy stuff. If you're gonna come in our league, we want you to be able to play your game the best way you can play your game, but we don't want you to exploit the game. We want you to exploit the AI and stuff like that. So our rules are just built around that kind of stuff. Like, hey, this play right here has been known in the community to be a cheesy type of play, so we're just gonna ban the entire play. We're gonna give you an option to even try to run the play and not run it cheesy. It's just all right, that play's banned, or whatever the case may be. So we have one rule that I find unique, and a lot of people tend to like it. Like, if a player in the play art is blitzing and you control that player, you have to blitz. Like, you can't just running coverage with a blitzing player. And even if you hot route that player, you still can't control that player. You gotta go with somebody else in the play art. So that's one. A lot of people tend to like that rule, because again, you get people that and quote unquote mixing up their plays. They call it a blitz, but then they audible everybody back into coverage. So it's not really a blitz at that point. So
right. Nice, like it. And we can. I'm assuming you guys are on Daddy Leagues too.
Yeah, we're on Daddy Leagues. daddyleagues.com/LH. You can check us out there. We're on. Actually, we're not on Twitch yet. We just use the homie Snipes Television. He does all our games. So we've been supporting him since the beginning. He supports us. So nice. He's coming up in the game. He's doing a lot of good things, man. You gotta check.
Absolutely. Shout out to
check him out.
Shout out to Snipes Television.
He's from a broadcasting point, he's put out some of the best broadcasts I've ever seen. So
I was gonna say, you guys' last Super Bowl was very nice. I was able to catch that graphics that you guys had in there. That was pretty clean. Y'all did a really nice job with it. That was a classic bowl, man. We got a few this season. So like I said, this was probably our best Madden cycle yet. So we got a couple people out there knowing us a little bit. So I'm excited for these tournaments to come up, because I got a lot of guys in my league that can ball. And I want people to check them out. So
nice,
yeah,
nice, awesome. That's awesome, man. Yeah. So hopefully, guys, if you're out there looking for a league, Leather Helmets, they're always looking, just like MSR. We're always looking to expand our community. Hit them up, hit us up. Again, another way you can find leagues out there, guys. Want to give a big shout out to our other sponsor, League Crawler. League Crawler is a Yelp style directory for leagues and players. So if you're out there looking for a league, out there looking for players, you can hop on League Crawler and hop on the website, and they'll sort you out. Anything that you're looking for, any kind of player you're looking for, any kind of league you're looking for, you can find there on League Crawler. But on that note, Jim Jones, man, thank you for hopping on. anytime you want to hop on, just let us know. We are trying to reach across the different CFM communities and different leagues. So, man, anytime you want to come on, just definitely hit us up. Let us know. Thank you for hopping on the show. Wakanda, Kylo, I thank you guys for hopping on as well. And on that note, NDP, we're out.